Yeah, so this is something you've probably never seen before, and it might not show up very well on this video because it's getting dark where I'm at, but I'm actually scoping the secondary ignition waveform on this Echo Weedeater. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I've got my ignition probe hooked up to the spark plug wire here, and my ground probe hooked up to the engine. You can tell this thing is running. This is the Echo SRM 2620 X-series. See, I got my leads there, my scope here, it's hooked up to the laptop, and there is actually the live waveform right there. Which honestly, I don't know if that would be very helpful for diagnosing any kind of problems on a 2-cycle engine. It's just something that I was kind of curious to see what a 2-cycle engine's secondary ignition waveform looked like, kind of compared to a car or truck gas engine. And it's kind of something I thought I would do just to get a little more practice, scope practice, and was curious just to see what it would look like, and that is what it looks like. It does look kind of similar to a car or truck gas engine, but not totally. And I can rev the engine up, and it doesn't really change all that much. It's not really noticeable there that it changes all that much. The voltage did kind of rise and fall there, but if I change the time base on the scope and increase the time base, so I'm at 500 milliseconds right there. And you see the waveform did change, but it's not quite as noticeable at a faster time base. But I'm gonna stop this and try to save it. I'm gonna kill this weed eater so I don't have to talk over it. Try to save this here. Just got it saved as weed eater. I don't think that's coming in very good on the phone, but I got it saved as weed eater. But I'll go in here and open up an ignition waveform that I took on my car, and looks totally different. little bit similar, but still like totally different. That's the same kind of waveform on my car, but just the spark plug firing once. And you can see this this line here. They call it the spark line or the burn line, which is where the spark is actually occurring in the cylinder, going through the gap of the spark plug right there. And it's got this little those little triangles there that they call oscillations, and this is where the ignition coil actually turns on, and this is where the spark actually occurs. That's where it's actually firing right there. But if I can go back to that Weedeater waveform, you'll see it looks a lot different. There isn't this section here that they call the spark line or the burn time. There isn't that section there. There is these oscillations in there, but there isn't this section there in the on the Weedeater ignition waveforms, which was kind of interesting to me. And actually, if I can measure the time between here and here, which is the time that the spark is actually occurring. I can use these rulers here. And this is the time the spark is actually happening in the cylinder, which is 2.08 milliseconds, which is like about 2/1000ths of a second. But if I go back here on the Weedeater waveform, it's totally different. I don't know if it'll let me zoom in here on one of those, but it is totally different, way faster. That's the spark right there on the Weedeater. And you can see if I stretch it out, it looks totally different than on my car. There is no, there isn't one of those lines, the spark line or the burn line. It just has these oscillations here, which I don't know if that's actually when the spark is occurring. This whole time these oscillations are happening, that's when the spark is actually occurring in the Weedeater. I don't know that. I'm just kind of speculating here. But that's this right here, this high line right here, that's when the spark actually occurs. But there is no burn line or spark line like on a car. But obviously it's going to be a little different because it's a 2-cycle engine, not a 4-stroke engine. So I'm not sure if, I would just kind of assume this is, the spark is occurring this whole time these oscillations are going on. I assume that is what's going on there. And then about right here is when the spark stops. But I can actually measure that time also. Right there is when the spark starts. And somewhere about right here, I'm assuming, is when the spark stops. I don't know if that's showing up very well on the camera. .18 microseconds. But that's way super faster than the spark would occur on a gas engine automobile. So that's kind of interesting to me. I don't know if this would actually be helpful for any small engine guys. I doubt many small engine guys actually use a scope, because actually most automotive mechanics and techs don't use scopes. But I just thought this would be kind of interesting to see to me. I just wanted to see what a two-cycle engine secondary ignition waveform looked like, and kind of how it would compare to an automotive secondary ignition waveform. But yeah, I don't know if this would be helpful if you were a small engine guy that did diagnostic work or not. But thought it might also be interesting to any automotive guys out there that use a scope, because I'm sure other guys have probably scoped two-cycle engines, or thought about scoping two-cycle engines, and maybe never did it, because I've actually thought about it for a long time, but finally just got around to doing it today. And you can't actually scope a two-cycle engine, and that's what a secondary ignition waveform looks like on this particular weed eater. I assume they all pretty much look pretty similar, kind of like on automobiles. But yeah, that's probably all I got for this one. But hopefully somebody out there found this interesting, or maybe inspired you to use your scope if you have one. But yep, that's probably all I got on this one. So I will talk to you on the next one.